How did you know that acting was a part of the purpose that God gave you?
I didn't. Sometimes the thing that we are called to is also the thing that has the potential to ensnare us, right? Looking back, I see the hand of God on the thing that he called me to do and gifted me to do without me even knowing. Like, we retrospectively see, when we look back, the hand of God and how he was orchestrating and guiding and leading us in ways that we weren't even aware of, that we didn't even know what we would step into. I'm not meant to conform. I'm supposed to renew my mind daily. I'm supposed to be transformed. I'm supposed to be dying to this thing that is the lower man. And so when I recognize that I'm supposed to be set apart, then I can handle and navigate the world's influence in trying to pull me back. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. All things, every challenge, every difficulty, every pivot, every denial, it is for a reason, because I accept that there will be something that he will give me to bless my life in a way that I can't even imagine. And my life is already so far above what I ever would have expected it to be. It's so much bigger and more beautiful than the little girl who grew up in Brooklyn could have ever seen for herself.
I wanted something that I could watch that could say, oh, that's really how you identify purpose. Hey, let's talk about the journey.
I always say it, but I believe the greatest way to serve is to tell your story, and I'm humbled by the people that have said yes.
With all of that success, you're still responsible for the platform that God has given you.
Essence.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for your yes. It is an honor. It is a privilege to be here sitting with you today. I have been watching you from afar. You are a woman that inspires me. The way that you speak about your faith and the way that you really speak with such boldness, and you are so unapologetic about who you are, and you are a voice for the voiceless. You are a leader for our generation. You may or may not know that, but you are somebody that is truly blazing the trail for us as we continue to walk out this faith journey. So thank you for just being a woman of God and not shying away from it. Some have seen you in Family Matters, Haunted House, Smart Guy, Papa's House. The list goes on and on. You're a mother, you're an actress, also a comedian. How did you know that acting was a part of the purpose that God gave you?
I didn't know. When I started, my SAG card says 1986. So I'm in my 39th year in this business. But when I started, I was just a shy girl who had a dream of being a dancer. I grew up in New York City, and that was my area of study and expertise, and that was the passion that I was following at the time. But I was going to a private school in Manhattan called Professional Children's School, which was a small little private school really designed to accommodate working children in the arts. So if you were a dancer at SAB, if you were an actor, if you were one of my classmates, her name was Midori, and she had 8 professional violin albums by the time she was like 14 years old.
Wow.
Exactly.
What the heck?
And so she was more on, she was touring more than she was in school. So this school was a correspondence school, and it was set up to accommodate working professional kids. But occasionally there would be a notice on the bulletin board for a role that someone was seeking, just because the pool was rich in this small little school. And there was a notice on the bulletin board when I was 14 that they were looking for somebody to appear on The Cosby Show, and I fit the description.
Wow.
And at the time, The Cosby Show was the #1 show in America, and we were all watching, and it was in its 3rd season, and I just got excited. I was excited, exhilarated, and definitely terrified, kind of how I feel right now.
We're a little terrified right now.
A little terrified, but I think that can be being intimidated and being excited about something simultaneously. I think is a good indicator of where you need to walk, right? And so I just thought, I want to be on the Cosby Show. So I called the number and I explained to them that I didn't have any representation. I didn't have any of those things. I didn't even really know about those things. I said, but I fit the description. And so I set up an appointment. I went into the casting office. They gave me sides. They told me what to do. Apparently I did a good enough job that they had me come back.
Wow.
I did a good enough job after that to come back again. And then I was picked to be on the Cosby Show. So my very first professional audition, I ended up being on the #1 show in America as a guest star, not even like a co-star, but like a full guest star. So that opened doors for me. And I just kind of was sometimes doing it, sometimes like it was just something that I liked doing, that I enjoyed. And obviously the first time I saw my paycheck, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. So when I saw that, I was like, oh wow, maybe this is something I should look into. But it really wasn't until I was about 19 that I kind of made the commitment to really pursue acting as a possible profession. But the Lord, I wasn't a believer yet. I didn't become a believer until I was in my early 20s. So it was the Lord, like looking back, I see the hand of God on the thing that he called me to do and gifted me to do without me even knowing. And I think that that's really so much of our lives in the macro ends up looking like that. Like we retrospectively see when we look back the hand of God and how he was orchestrating and guiding and leading us in ways that we weren't even aware of, that we didn't even know what we would step into. Because again, how can he do exceedingly and abundantly more than we could ask, think, or imagine if we are in control, if we have that kind of knowledge, you know? And so I didn't. I just was following this voice that felt exciting and felt daring. And also, I was so shy. I was so shy. I'm still very shy. I'm very much an introvert who's gotten used to people looking at me, you know, and scrutinizing me to a certain extent and observing me. But now I understand that it's not me that has to be impressive. It's my witness.
Oof. Unpack that.
Because
it's not me that has to be impressive, it's my witness.
Because the more broken and flawed and human I am, and the more that people see me surrender to the fruit of the Spirit, then the more he gets the glory. Because then they understand that it's not me. Like my instincts are very human. My energy, my desires at times can be very lower man connected, but it is my surrender. It is my obedience. It is my submission to him that makes anything I do worth observing, worth admiring, anything. There's nothing, you know, one of the things that you understand when you go on this journey with the Lord is you understand that there but by the grace of God go I. There's not anybody that does anything that we are not capable of. And when you see that and you understand that and you really embrace that, then you know that the greatness that lives in us is him and the brokenness is the enemy. And so I keep calibrating towards the light. And that is the thing that makes anything that I do admirable. And it also makes anything that I do possible for the observer. Because it really is that the free will choice of walking this thing out means that it's afforded to all of us. We all have the opportunity to choose light.
Ooh, Essence. Okay. You just said a lot right there.
I don't know what I'm saying. That's the awesome thing about it.
I love it. Okay, let's go back to just the acting, and like you're saying, you weren't used to people looking at you and the scrutiny that comes with it, but you're still on the path and following the light. Now, I want to counter that. We are in an industry, I agree, but I want to know what you do in these moments. We're in an industry where we get a lot of no's. We get a lot of not yets. We get a lot of rejection. We get a lot of, you're not good enough. You need to be taller. You need to be skinnier. Your hair needs to be straighter. Whatever it is. And this is applicable for everybody.
Yes.
We all deal with some form or sense of rejection, whatever it is, whatever industry that you're in. And I think it's important to illuminate how you respond to those things, because I think a lot of times there are certain people that when we start feeling rejection or feeling rejected, we then start rejecting God. We then start saying, well, you know what, this is on you. This is your fault. And then we become bitter. We become angry. And those certain things begin to grow in the soil of our heart.
Yeah.
So for you, you've been in this industry for over 2 decades now. How do you invite God into your rejection moments?
It's been a process. It hasn't been something that I've mastered overnight. You know, I've been fortunate enough to work for a long time. I mean, the last time that I had a job outside of acting, I was 20 years old. I'm 53. So it's been a long time of being able to sustain and have a beautiful career and life connected to the industry. But there have been, to your point, an enormous amount of no's and criticism and things that have been said, curses dispensed, whether people were aware or not of what has come out of them and been spoken into and over me that I've had to contend with. And the only way to really fortify yourself is to know who you are, to continue to get in that word and figure out what the truth is. And the truth is I am a chosen people, a royal priesthood. I was formed and fashioned specifically and deliberately. There is deliberate intention in my creation, and I'm not meant to be like everyone else. The Lord is so magnificent in his ability to create that even snowflakes have their own patterns. So we're meant to be different. The body itself is meant to have different parts. I'm not meant to conform to your calling or someone else's. And the more that you read, the more that you study, the more that you get in that word, the more you can be assured and you can wrestle with the feelings that come up. Because again, we're human. We're in these flesh suits. And the feelings that come up are a part of the human experience, which is why he says, be angry, but sin not. It's not, don't ever get angry. It's about knowing where to put that thing. It's about knowing how to submit and surrender those things back to him so that he can use it, so that he can show you and identify and cause you to die to that thing that would make you, to your point, bitter, that would make you seek vengeance. Those things are not of him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so the more that you get in this text, the more that you study and extrapolate the calling on your life and imagine if we all understood that holiness is our rightful position.
Oof.
What would that do? How would we behave? Because the world would teach us that we are disgusting and evil. And listen, but for Christ, I am a filthy rag. I know that. But in Christ, holiness is my actual position. How does that make you navigate things? How does that pour into you a patience and a kindness and a grace when you realize, like, I am a part of the kingdom of God. I am part of a brother and a sisterhood that is representative of the love that would impassion someone to allow themselves in their full authority with the availability of heaven itself to give up their life, to lay it down for my restitution.
Oof.
That's a part of the legacy that I am now in the family of. That's what I have access to.
Yeah.
So if we walk around in that operating factor with that knowledge, it calibrates us so differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can feel what you feel, but you surrender and submit it back. And you go, you know what? I feel, and look, the Lord can handle our questions, our feelings, our disappointments, our desires. He can handle it all, but we've got our choices to submit it back, to surrender it back.
Yeah. When do you feel like your worth has been tested the most?
You know, I think that sometimes the thing that we are called to is also the thing that has the potential to ensnare us, right? So we're called to this business that I'm not a painter, right? I don't do what I do in a vacuum as an artist. So much of my artistry is dependent upon the audience's approval and or showing up, right? So there is a tether that makes me susceptible to the opinions of the masses. And again, like, the art is sustained by people showing up and supporting my work, but there has to be a delineation between me and the character, between me and the work, between Essence, the soul, the spirit of me, the Holy Spirit that resides in me, and what people approve of or disapprove of. Because what I understand, again, having gone in the text, is that I'm not meant to conform. I'm not meant to, I'm supposed to renew my mind daily. I'm supposed to be transformed. I'm supposed to be dying to this thing that is the lower man. And so when I recognize that I'm supposed to be set apart, then I can handle and navigate the world's influence in trying to pull me back to something that is my former self.
When you say I'm not meant to conform, explain that to people that may not know what that means.
It just means that the world is not where the Lord is sovereign, but the authority that is in the world as we know it is a dark authority. It is the enemy's authority. And so being popular in the earth is sometimes connected to darkness. You know, people don't realize that they're operating aligned with spirits that are dark. Some people, yes, it's been an active choice. Some people have I choose darkness because of the power that it affords me here on this plane for a temporary time. And then there are others that have come into agreement with things that they don't even recognize is really tethering them to something dark. And so the light is the thing that is what we're supposed to contain and shine, right? We're supposed to be set on a hill. We're supposed to illuminate the darkness around us. And so to conform to the world is really about being in agreement with darkness.
Yeah.
And I understand that I no longer am in that position.
Yeah. Ooh, so good. Recently, you just shared on social media that you booked a couple roles and had some new films that are coming up.
Yes.
First of all, congratulations. Let's go. Thank you, Father.
Yes.
At the end of your post, you wrote out one of my favorite passages, yet very nuanced passages, which I want to read, which is this. Don't grow weary
In well-doing.
that in due season you will reap a harvest.
Yeah.
So obviously that's an implication for you that you weren't, you're not growing weary. You reap the harvest, you book the roles. I want to talk to the one, to myself, that may feel like they're growing weary, that they are dotting every I, crossing every T, and feel like they're doing everything right, but yet they are still waiting on the Lord, either for the harvest that they're looking for, or potentially that they've gained a harvest that maybe they weren't expecting, and maybe it wasn't necessarily the desire of their heart. So what does it look like for you in those seasons of waiting? What does your mindset look like?
Well, I think it's a time for radical honesty, in safe spaces. And obviously, your prayer closet, your time with the Lord is a safe space to have that radical honesty. And then also your community, but not, I'm a big proponent of the things that matter to you, being very careful about them, right? Handling them with kid gloves. And so I have a community of women that I am aligned and walking through life with, that I can talk to about the things that are heavy, right? And I think it's important it's part of the reason that the word says we're not supposed to forsake the gathering, because I think it's very important for us to be in community and be able to confess to one another what we're struggling with, and sometimes we are just struggling with our countenance, just our joy. Sometimes joy is something we really have to fight for, again, especially in periods of waiting and weariness. And it happens, things are seasonal. And it's funny that we're having this conversation, because I literally just had this conversation with someone yesterday who has told me, they're so tired. They're like, I'm trying to do everything that I believe God is telling me to do, and yet it just feels like this is just a very long season and I'm tired. And they said to me, I want to go back to who I used to be, because it felt like it was easier. And I said it was easier. it was easier to conform. It was easier to walk in darkness. It was easier to allow ourselves to be selfish and not worry about the imprint that we were leaving on this world and even in our own soul. I said, but it is a temporary gain. It's like a thief. It's not an honest wage. It's not an honest scale. And it has no value in the kingdom whatsoever. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? So, but we can't deny that there is an ease, a perceived ease to aligning ourselves with the path that's wide, not the narrow one. And so, again, it really takes a discipline in the same way that, I'm 53. If I want to look good and continue to be healthy, there are things I have to do. And some of those things are even more extraordinary than I had to do when I was in my 20s, when it was easy to be in shape and eat a pound of pasta. Yes, I used to eat a pound of pasta a day. You know what I mean?
Yes,
but when I was able to do those things without suffering any kind of negative consequence, at least not one that I was immediately aware of, right? So now it takes discipline, it takes effort, it takes willpower to align myself with having the physical fitness that I want. And that's the same for every area of our lives. We have to put forth effort. That's part of the faith walk. Faith isn't just something that we just possess. We have to walk that thing out. So it's important to understand that harvest and seasons and trials, all of those things are a part of the design of the Lord. And there is something, what I told the person that was talking to me yesterday, I said, I know this season is long. I said, but I can tell you from the outside looking in, I see what God is doing. Be encouraged. I see what's happening, and I'm amazed at the changes and the growth, because he doesn't prune arbitrarily. In the same way, as a parent, you understand, I don't enjoy punishing my child when they do something wrong. I'm not looking forward to those moments. I understand that in the consequence, there is growth. I'm teaching a lesson. I'm pruning. I'm preparing. I am shaping so that you can flourish. It's the same thing with the Father. The same thing. He's called Abba for a reason. That's one of his titles, rightfully so. He's our dad, and he's a good father. So his correction is developing something. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. All things, every challenge, every difficulty, every pivot, every denial, it is for a reason. He is not cruel. Cruelty is not the banner of Christ, period.
Oof.
That's an important thing to know as you walk around observing the world talking about Christians. Cruelty is not the banner of Christ. Get in your text.
It is not. You can expound on that, please.
You just read the Gospels. Read what Jesus says. Read when he talks about what you did for the least of these. Read when he talks about you can have faith that moves mountains, but if you don't have love, you ain't on it. It's not right. Love is everything. And remember, he says, I give you a new commandment. Love as I have loved. Not love. We love to say, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, we're broken. We're traumatized. We're a hot mess. But loving the way that he loved, loving sacrificially, loving to your own detriment, loving to your own death, loving to sacrifice, loving to serve, that's what he's calling us to do. Read the text. Read the text. Don't take my word for it. Get in the Gospels. Read them. It's very clear.
Why do you think some believers are going the other way?
Because we're afraid. We're afraid. It's not easy to move in faith for things we hope for. It's not easy to turn the other cheek. It's not easy to wait. It's not easy to die to our own desires and allow the Lord to give us the desires of our heart. We keep thinking in our humanity, he's going to give me what I want. No, he's going to give you what you should desire. That's what he's going to give you. Your pursuit of him. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added unto you. It's what he wants to add. And that's a hard thing. We want what we want, just like little kids. We want what we want. But just because you want candy all the time doesn't mean it's good for you. You got to allow yourself to submit, to surrender. That's when you can really be blessed.
Yeah.
That's when you can be blessed in ways you can't even fathom.
Yeah.
But I get it. We're scared. It's not easy to die to yourself. The Lord wept before he went to that cross. He wept to the point of bloodshed tears.
Yeah.
He understands what it is to feel those things, to feel trepidation, to feel abandoned. He says it.
Yeah.
My God, why have you forsaken me? Not because God left, but because he felt the absence. He understood what it was to feel the absence, but God was still there. Walking this thing out the way that Christ did, I get it. And we want certainty, we want assuredness, but there's no way to have that that's real. The only assured thing is him. So I get why people want to latch on to power. I get why people want to latch on to resource that feels like it's gonna sustain you. I understand. And that's part of why we are supposed to pray for our enemies. We're supposed to pray for the world. We're supposed to pray for Jerusalem. Again, not my idea. It's in the text.
That part. It's in the text.
It's mandated.
Yes.
We're meant to pray for those who spitefully use us and curse us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are. And again, like when I think about how terrifying the world looks without the Lord and how terrifying it is to choose love in the face of pain, in the face of punishment, in the face of injustice, I get that feels like you're surrendering to something weak. But you aren't. Like his strength is made perfect in our weakness.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think going back to the waiting season and not growing weary, I'm reminded of understanding that, you know, in those seasons of troubleness or in those seasons of feeling trepidation, God doesn't take us through troubled waters to drown us.
No.
He takes us through troubled waters to cleanse us.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying rings so true. And it's like, of course, I know these things, but I need to be reminded of those things. Yeah. And I think a lot of times when we're praying and asking God for certain things, we're going to get it, but he takes us through a season of preparation.
Yeah.
Because if we would get the thing that we desire to get before we went through
before we were ready.
Exactly.
It destroys us.
It destroys us.
Yeah. His fire is a refining fire. It's a purifying fire.
Yeah.
The enemy's fire is consuming.
Yeah.
You know, it is destructive.
Take me to a season where you went through his fire.
I'm in it now. You know, my career is doing what it does, and it ebbs and flows, and he has given me provision and protection. You know, even as Papa's house was being canceled, you know, I got an offer the day before and then 2 more right after that. So I haven't stopped working, you know, and this is a time where so many people are living in the idea that there's lack and change and the business is contracting, and all of those things are occurring, but the Lord has given me favor and provision as he sees fit. So I'm not aligning myself with what the narrative around the business is right now, because I'm experiencing something different. So going back to the season of refinement, like I have been on an abstinence journey for going into 5 years now. And the thing about it is that in the process, there's been a lot of, and I've talked about it publicly, And so there's been a lot of support and people who understand and applaud. They're like, well, some people are like, I'm on that journey too, and others are like, I'm not on it, but I admire you for it. You know what I mean? So there's been a lot of really wonderful and kind comments. But then there's been a slew of people that have come for me in terms of discouragement and in terms of like just dismissal, mockery, cruelty. There's been a lot of those things. And as I'm on this journey and as it continues to be a long season, it's not that I haven't grown weary, and it's not that I haven't questioned if it will happen ever. Like I see myself as being married again. I believe that I'm a wife. I believe that I will be in covenant again, in the right covenant, one that really does go till death do us part, and all of the promises that are made in matrimony, and all of the wonderful things that are meant for matrimony. But in the process and in the seedling sprouting underground, I have definitely felt discouraged. I have definitely felt like, Lord, where is he? Where are you? Is this something that I will ever have? And in that process, what I have seen in myself is a wonderful acceptance and a wonderful peace, and also like the cycle that I'm observing is just a greater hope in his ability to sustain, in his ability to fulfill, and in his ability to keep me even if the answer is no, ultimately.
Okay. I want to unpack this a little bit, and I would love to stay here just about the celibacy journey. Because like you said, you've been on it for 4.5 years now. I commend you. I applaud you. And I heard that you said in an interview, you felt like the Lord was asking you to do it, and you wanted to lead with obedience because you believed and knew that there was a harvest on the other side of it.
Yeah.
A few things I want to unpack. One, what is the harvest that you're expecting and hoping for? And what kind of man does Essence want? What are we looking for here?
Okay. All right. So
let us know.
The harvest is for the Lord to be at the center. Like if you can, especially if you know that I'm not a virgin. I've been married. I am a mother. So it's not that I don't understand the pleasure of touch and of connection and of intimacy, but surrendering to doing it the way that the Bible mandates, the way that the Lord asks us to do it, is for our protection. It's for it's for a blessing. And I believe that to the point of being able to deny the thing that I want. And, just even from a scientific standpoint, there's all of this evidence of touch and how beneficial it is to us and how necessary it is for human beings. I mean, babies in a NICU unit there are literally nurses and volunteers who go around just to hold them because it's a part of healing. Yeah. It's a part of what our bodies physically need, what our cells and our countenance demands. Like we were designed to thrive in loving touch. But what I also understand is that without covenant, it is a lie. It is not safe. It's not safe.
What do you mean it's not safe?
Like to be chosen for my body is not what I want. To be chosen for my soul and my spirit and to be chosen by a man who can see my value outside of my nakedness, that is what God designed us for.
Right.
He designed us to come together to be loved in sickness, in health, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. And without the physical tether to be chosen, I think because someone really sees the value and makes a decision, and vice versa, that we want to walk this life out together, I don't want that to be based on because I knew how to do the darn thing. Like I want to be chosen for the reasons that someone feels called to love me, called to be a priest over me, called to pray for me. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I understand that people do, and it works out beautifully, and they can still have the Lord, and he can still restore and make a great, amazing, wonderful marriage. But I've already done it the other way. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And again, it was something that the Lord was very clear, in the same way that he told me, you know, about the guest house, emptying my guest house, in the same way that he told me to ask my best friend, who at the time I didn't know from Adam, to walk up to her and ask her to pray for me. I was like, what, you know, the Lord speaks to me, and I'm like, bruh, this is weird.
Right.
Like,
again?
you know,
Yeah.
but when I do, when I yield, when I surrender, when I follow his voice, he blesses me in ways that I cannot imagine. And I know that I heard him say, wait, wait, wait for me, wait for him, wait for it to be orchestrated by me, wait to be chosen. Don't allow, and here's the thing, I thought I could navigate it. After divorce, I thought I could navigate it the old way.
Yeah.
Thought I could go back, you know, return to my vomit. I thought I could do it. I thought, oh yeah, well, I'm divorced. I can do what I want. Man, the few times that I did, when I tell you that thing snatched me by my collar, I felt so broken. I felt so empty, and it didn't matter the quality of the intimacy, or wasn't in any way an indictment of the person. It was my identity. It was knowing I'm a wife. I can't do this without being with my husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel safe. I don't feel at ease. I don't feel peaceful. So why would I betray myself trying to act like I do? Oh yeah, I'm good with casual. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not good with it. That's just a lie. And if I lie to myself, then I'm also lying to you. And I'm ensnaring you in a dynamic that you didn't ask for.
Yeah.
You didn't ask to be my husband. You didn't ask me to be your wife. And if I'm bitter about that because we've been together and now I don't feel safe, that's not your fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to take responsibility for the caretaking of my own soul.
So why would you kind of put a banner that this is the season that has been refining for you? Is it because the waiting is feeling a little bit
Oh, it's
longer
feeling lengthy. I'm like, Jesus, it's been a minute. But, you know, at the same time, I see what he's doing in me in terms of being able to edify other women who want to pursue that, right? Who have felt connected to that, or felt called to it, or felt curious about it, right? To have someone publicly talk about it in a real way that resonates with them, that they feel is authentic, that doesn't feel very pious and condemning, but just feels like this just doesn't feel right for me. I don't want to be a body part to anyone.
Yeah. What does dating look like for you now?
It's interesting because people know about my stance. So, you know, some people are like, are you really, you know, it kind of feels like the snake in the garden. Did he really say? I'm like, yeah, he really did say. Wait,
Right. Are you really?
Are you really about that life?
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah.
sure,
And, you know,
sure.
some people are curious about it. Some people get it, but don't want it. They're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Or they feel like they don't have the discipline for it. And I respect all of those decisions, you
Yeah.
know? So kind of leading into your other question about what is it that I'm looking for, you know, besides a man who loves the Lord, my husband will know that he's called to love me. He will know that he's called to love me, and not just the actress or the personality or even the believer, but all of me. And it's in my entirety. And he'll want to learn me as I'll want to learn him. And he'll want to grow with me as I'll want to grow with him. The one thing that I also understand that it took me a long time to really reconcile within myself is that I need someone who loves what they are doing with their life.
Yeah.
They love where they are, what their career path is, what they've achieved and accomplished. Because I think, we talk about, I'm a boss, I need a boss. But really it's about what I recognize is I don't want to be partnered or paired with someone who feels diminished by my success. And that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. The world will make it something competitive and something that's condemning, right? Or judgmental. Well, he got to have 6 figures and he got to, or 7, or he got to be this, he got to be that. Like to me, a great date is a great conversation, and that can happen anywhere. Right. I don't need you to spend a fortune on the first date to show me I don't need any of that. In fact, honestly, those things are kind of a turnoff to me. Like, can we sit together? Yeah. Can we share space and navigate the awkwardness, or navigate what to talk about next, or navigate a situation that we're observing, and what do we see, and what does he see, and what does he value? To me, like, conversation, being able to make each other laugh, being able to find safety and ease in each other's company, that's what I'm looking for. Right. Right. I don't know what it will ultimately be packaged in, but I know it's a spirit thing first. And I know he's got to be able to pray. I know he's got to be able, when I'm at my weakest, he's got to be able to war for me. He's got to be able to get in that text and speak life into me. And again, I am not condemning anyone who doesn't have a similar faith, but Amos 3:3 says, how can 2 walk together unless they agree? We got to agree on when everything is hitting the fan, when it's all going and it looks crazy. We got to be able to touch and agree that we are stepping out of that boat, that we are going to get out and we're going to walk towards Christ, and the storm can rage. But that doesn't mean that it's the 3 of us. And if we have children, which I have a son, if he has children, because we're in older years, and maybe he had a marriage that didn't work, or maybe he had a child out of wedlock, or maybe he doesn't have children. I don't know, but I know that we got to be able to pray.
There's something to be said about a man covering you in prayer.
I don't want anything that isn't that. I rather be alone than settle. I really would. Yeah. I have such a peaceful life. I have such a beautiful life. I have amazing friends. I am in rooms. I get text messages from people. I'm like, how am I friends with this person? How is this, Sheila E. got her star on the Walk of Fame a little while ago, last year. And she literally sent me a text like, hey, I don't know if you can come, but I would love to have you there. And in my mind, I'm like, of course, right, I'll be there. Sheila E. wants me to come to her Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, what? Yeah. I remember holding that album, looking at the glamorous life, studying it like it was reading the lyrics. Yeah. I still owe that company that 99 cents. Okay, let me just go ahead and talk about it. But I remember who she is. Yeah. I remember, and she is lovely, but she's my sister in Christ, and I'm a person that she feels safe with and trusts to pray for her. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And there are countless others who feel that way that I have grown up admiring. And it's such a beautiful matrix when you realize that there are those in your life who are that for you, and then there are those in your life who you're that for them. Yeah. Where they're like, oh my gosh. Right. This is my friend, this is my person, and it's a beautiful thing. But again, the greatest among us will serve.
Will serve. Come on.
So it is an honor to serve. It's an honor to show up. It's an honor to love on my sisters and my friends. And I have incredible friends. So I have a beautiful life. And if it be God's will that I don't find my partner in this lifetime, I'm okay with that. It's not what I want, but I accept that because I accept that there will be something that he will give me to bless my life in a way that I can't even imagine. And my life is already so far above what I ever would have expected it to be. It's so much bigger and more beautiful than the little girl who grew up in Brooklyn could have ever seen for herself. And she had big dreams. I mean, I used to sit there and write myself checks, $1 million checks all the time with the numbers at the bottom. I was very detailed. I sure did all the time. And I would write all the numbers, and I would do all the little like pattern on the check, on the bottom of the check. I was very detailed about it. I would write I saw myself achieving more than what I was born into. I saw myself as having greater. I saw myself as having a home and a pool and like I saw that stuff before I even knew how it would happen. He's already been so generous. I've received such love and favor, at any given day. Every now and again, it occurs to me that every day you can see me on television in something every day. How did that happen? Whether it be a movie or a TV show, something I did in the 90s, something I did in the 80s, in 2000, in 2010, something I'm doing next month. How did that happen? Was I disciplined? Did I finally go, you know what? I'm having some success at this thing. I might as well learn how to do it. And that took humility going into class, and it still does. People are like, you still take acting class? I'm like, yeah. Does a pianist not play unless there's a concert?
Come on.
You love it. I love it. I love it more now than I did ever, than I ever could have imagined. I really love being a storyteller. I love what it helps me understand about humanity. I love the empathy it stokes in me. I love the compassion. I love the way that I have to look at characters who aren't necessarily becoming or who are at a crossroads in their life and they have to choose. I love that I get to explore these kind of ideas and these concepts without necessarily suffering real consequences, right? Because it's all scripted. And it's pretend. And I make a great living pretending, which is something every child does. How is this my life? I'm so blessed. He don't got to do nothing else. I walked in here today on 2 feet. How many times, how many people are in a car accident right now having that ability taken from them? Whether it be their fault or someone else's, doesn't matter. The consequence being what they are. When you live life long enough, you see that tragedy befalls on the just and the unjust. Like, we don't get to determine who suffers the consequences of tragedy. Everyone is grieving something. Let that stoke your compassion.
That's good. That's good. I want to go back. You said, I just want to talk about this notion and posture and positioning ourselves to accept the things that we may not get. You literally said, if I do not meet my partner in this lifetime, I've accepted that that's okay. How did you get there?
That's the pruning. That's the process that we're talking about in terms of the waiting. That's what he's developing in me, right? The fruit of the Spirit, one of them is patience, long suffering. That is not appealing. Kindness, sign me up. Gentleness,
Long-suffering?
sign me up.
I'm running.
But long suffering, that's
Baby.
not something most people are like, yeah, I want to. But I understand that is a fruit. That's part of the fruit of the Spirit. That is part of what he's developing in me. That's part of helping me look like him. If I'm a Christian, it means that I desire to follow him. It's not a dirty word. I am a Christian. I am a follower and a disciple of Christ. That means that my life is supposed to look like his. And long suffering is what he did. And long suffering is something I got to embrace, even if it don't feel good.
And here's the thing about long suffering. I think it's very difficult and challenging to be able to sustain the promise and keep our eyes on the promise when there is the evidence around us contradicts it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we know that goodness, that joy will come in the morning.
Yes.
But in that moment, we're in darkness. In
Yeah.
that moment, we're in trials. In that moment, but it's the faith.
Yeah.
Faith, the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen.
Yeah.
And so what you're pretty much saying is that you're able to see it because of what you believe. And that, to me, is just...
And also,
go ahead.
Sorry
Yep.
to interrupt, but also, like, we have to understand that he also says, in this life, you will have trouble. Like, we don't get to escape trouble. It's not an exchange.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not transactional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not obeying the Bible and obeying God's commandments because I'm hoping to get something out of it. I'm doing it out of love, out of understanding that I love because he first loved me. So my pursuit is a pursuit from love, not from reward.
Yeah.
Love is its own reward.
Yeah.
When you really feel loved, I was driving here and I was thinking to myself, in order to really understand forgiveness, you got to understand deliverance.
Ooh, unpack that.
Like, I don't think that we get to really truly, like, in our core, know why forgiveness and grace is so important without knowing how badly we need deliverance, how much we need to rid ourselves of certain practices, certain thought patterns, certain ideas, certain concepts. Like, when you understand that you need deliverance, and you may need it in one area, multiple areas, whatever. When you understand that there are things that you have a penchant for, an appetite for, a lust for, a desire for, a pride for, the temptations that Jesus sustained after 40 days, the lust of the flesh, right? Lust of the eyes. When you start to understand how those things are also being paraded in front of you,
Right.
and you understand you need deliverance from those things, that there are things that you desire, that you have a lust for, that you're looking at that are not good.
Yeah.
When you understand that it's important to be delivered from those things so that you can be conformed to him, so that you can be a light in this world. When those things happen and when you're in process, because sometimes deliverance happens like this and sometimes it's a process.
Yeah.
You recognize how much forgiveness is important, how much grace is needed. Because the Lord has been so patient with me as I have learned to let go of certain things, as I've learned that certain things are not good for me. He's been so patient. So why would I withhold that? It talks about it in Matthew 18. Like, we don't get to be the landowner that gets forgiven his debts and then have the servant go and demand payment from the other guy who owes him money. Like, we don't get to withhold grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're all recipients of grace.
Yeah.
We're all meant to be conduits of it as well.
Yeah.
It's not a dam.
Yeah.
It's a stream.
Yeah.
It's a river of living water.
Let's go back a little bit. What was revealed to you? I think that in order for us to heal, we first have to reveal. In order for us to actually undo or unpartner with these certain things that you're talking about that you need deliverance from, we need to be in therapy, which clearly you have been.
Yes.
And I think, for me on my journey, being my highest self, and we won't get to our highest self until we go home. That's what I believe, until we get to heaven. There has been a lot of things that have been exposed about myself that I'm not necessarily so proud of, but yet I'm still pruning, if you will, daily, day in and day out, so that I can get to the certain things that I'm desiring, the certain promises, etc. What did that look like for you? What were the things that you had to prune in your life to get to where you are today?
like many of us, right? And I don't want to say us just meaning women, but many people have been touched inappropriately, right? As children. And what it does is it ignites something in us that is pleasurable, but also not profitable, right? It's not meant for that. It's not meant to be ignited under those circumstances. It's not meant to, children should not be touched, period, right? And so when that happens, there's something that is birthed, and it becomes an appetite, and that appetite can ruin us, right? Because we start to believe that that's part of what makes us lovable. We start to believe that that's part of our value. We start to believe that the more that we can attract people in a sexual way, right? The greater that we are worthy of love, right? It just really distorts everything. It bastardizes everything that intimacy is supposed to be. And so I was very much a part of that dynamic, like not understanding where to put those things and how to navigate those things and what made me valuable and lovable outside of being attractive. And it's something that I think, as I can't speak for boys, but I know that as little girls, especially when I was growing up, like, to tell someone how pretty they were, to compliment their exterior so much was such a thing that we leaned into. And we really thought that we were doing ourselves a great compliment. But I think that we didn't really understand how much we were neglecting the soul and the spirit and the personality of the young girls that are pretty. We were making them identify themselves as objects. We were making them see themselves as something to be desired rather than to just be loved because we are enough. And now, you've said it. We've had therapy. We've come to our spiritual journeys and we've unlearned some of those things. But for me, it was ignited and I didn't understand how to navigate any of it. And I didn't understand the value of being a daughter. Like, what does that look like to be a daughter of a king? And again, what we talked about earlier when I said, like, what if we navigated life really believing that holiness is our rightful place? What do we allow from that position? And what do we absolutely not stand for? So in the process of laying those things down and things connected to it, like I'm not a born again virgin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I am a renewed mind and understanding that I am worth loving outside of what it is I offer physically.
Yeah.
And I love myself outside of needing someone else to validate me physically.
Yeah.
I'm emancipated.
Yeah.
I'm emancipated from needing someone to desire me in that way. The Lord desired me in such a way that he died for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Oof, that's beautiful. And that's obviously why you are on the journey that you're on today.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, part of our test becomes our testimony. That's part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so good. Lastly,
Okay.
what legacy do you hope to leave?
I just hope that in me, he is evidenced. I hope that when I walk into a room without a cross hanging on my neck, without declaring that I am a Christian, that Christ is evidenced in me and how I show up and how I pay attention and how I pray. And if nothing else, it's like Tabitha talks about, right? She always says, if you can't have a good day, don't go messing up nobody else's, right? I think that if I can't lead you to the Lord, I don't want to get in the way of him being something you desire. If I do nothing else, let me not taint who he is. Let me not get in the way of how amazing and wonderful the Lord is, by my behavior, by the things that I say or do. And I'm not a perfect person, and I'm going to get it wrong, but Holy Spirit, convict me. Yeah. Let me repent. Let me apologize. Let me do it differently. If I can't go back and make amends with the person I've offended, then let me do it differently moving forward. And let me have an honest recognition of what I've done wrong and be changed. Yeah. Right? To follow him is to be changed. So my legacy is just wanting for him to get the glory. Yeah. Out of everything. Out of my son, out of my friendships, out of my marriage one day, out of my career, out of just my encounter with people. Yeah. You know, whether they know me from television or not, I just want them to see him. Yeah. I just want to honor him. I just don't want to be a person who causes anyone to stumble. Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that you do that. And you are that. Thank you. When you walked in here, the light that you carry is very, very bright. And I honor you. I commend you, woman of God. I know that God is continuing to prepare you for what he has prepared for you. I'm standing and believing that your man is near and that everything that your hand touches will prosper. So keep on, woman of God. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for the vessel that you are, because you make it easy to talk about the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
The Lord of Lords.
Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was beautiful.